Hello, Dan here with News That Doesn't Suck, and today we're continuing on our video series for Over the Top by Zig Ziglar, working on Chapter 2, Right Attitude plus Specific Skills and Golden Rule Philosophy, all over character equals complete success. Each of us will one day be judged by our standard of life, not by our standard of living, by our measure of giving, not by our measure of wealth, by our simple goodness, not by seeming greatness. William Arthur Ward. The formula in the title of this chapter removes both fear and guilt because you will do the right thing in the right way because you are the right kind of person. With the burdens of fear and guilt removed, you feel good about yourself and you climb over the top will be faster and easier. This assumption could be wrong. Let me assume just for a moment that your life has been one long series of disappointments, frustrations, and setbacks with the result that you really are not too optimistic about your future. Since the principal ingredient of Over the Top is hope fueled with encouragement, let me encourage you to remember the brief example I used in Chapter 1 about 300 world-class leaders. They clearly understood that what happens to you is not nearly as important as how you handle what happens to you. They also understood that failure is an event, not a person, and that yesterday really did end last night. They learned to respond to difficulties, and that's positive, instead of getting upset and reacting, which is negative. I believe responding is a major key in accomplishing anything. Over the Top gives you solid principles and motivational/inspirational techniques that will enable you to move from wherever you might be towards the top we all seek. With that in mind, let's look carefully at the content of this chapter as we explore the importance of the right attitude plus specific skills combined with the Golden Rule philosophy, all built on a solid character base. Now, the first story you go into is about a young man that has the right attitude, but he does not have the skill. And he is an 82-pound boy, learns that he doesn't have the skill, going up against a 62-pound boy that knows how to box. And then it goes through his journey of him developing the skill. The next story that we touch on is called An Instant Improvement, and that deals with a gate agent that really knows what he's doing, but he gets rained on by about 1,211 people and is having a rough day. The right words spoken at the right time, it helps turn his day around, and he is able to, he's able to be essentially better than good as a gate agent and helps fix a lot of people's problems. Then we move on to character. That brings us to a study. Let's just say it's a study done on a group of people known for being taught character, and it shows some of the general differences between themselves and our general population and how character affects them. But we're going to move on to this example here of Li Ka-shing. Li Ka-shing, according to Fortune magazine, is one of the 10 wealthiest people in the world. He is a Chinese businessman from Hong Kong, and he has made his fortune by financing small businesses that have good products, good management, and good ideas, but underfinanced. An astute financial mind and the application of this philosophy are the keys of his success. From the beginning of his entrepreneurship, he believed, and still believes, that if the going rate for financing the business is 10% ownership, but you can get 11 or 12% of the business, you should always take 9%. His reasoning is financially sound and eminently wise. First, he knows that the lower percentage gives the new business a much better chance of making it, and 9% of a thriving business is better than 12% of a struggling business. Second, Li Ka-shing knew that when the business world saw that he was not greedy, that he really did want the businesses he partnered with to succeed, big time, all the good deals would come his way. He was right. Note, this approach is a philosophy, not a tactic. If you think you can do something for someone, expecting him or her to do something for you in return, it won't work. Overnight success? On rare occasions, we hear about people who seem to be overnight successes. Actually, the overnight success is rare, and it certainly didn't happen in my life. Then the speaker moves on to him developing his career as a speaker, and the ups and downs with that, which are very interesting. We're going to move on to Jeff Hostetler. If you're a football fan, now a historian, you recognize his name. If you're a diehard football fan, you know he played quarterback for the New York Giants before being picked up as a free agent by the LA Raiders, now the Oakland Raiders. Maybe the Vegas Raiders? The first 4 years he was in the league, he had thrown only 68 passes in the regular NFL season games. Going into the tail end of his 7th season, he had thrown less than 200 passes, and none of them had any bearing on the outcome of the game. Then Phil Simms, the starting quarterback, went down with an injury, and Coach Bill Parcells looks up to the bench and says, "Okay, Jeff, it's your turn." Jeff Hostetler stood up, put his helmet on, ran out to the field, and led his team to victory not only in that game, but in the remaining games of the season and into the Super Bowl. The Giants, with Jeff at quarterback, won the World Championship that year. Suppose when the coach called for him, Jeff had said, "Wait a minute, Coach, I've got to get ready." Though I've never talked with Jeff personally, I'm confident that he felt he was ready to start after 2 or 3 years in the league. Based on media reports and his success since then, I know he was ready to start after 4 or 5 years in the league. Consider this. What you do off the job is the determining factor in how far you will go on the job. We begin with the assumption that while you're on the job, you're working and giving it your best shot. That's what you get paid to do, and your integrity demands that kind of a performance. However, if you're going to get ahead in that job, your activities and preparation off the job will be the determining factors. Every athlete, singer, dancer, or TV and movie star clearly understands that. Successful physicians, dentists, professors, public speakers, financial planners, or attorneys understand what they do before they get to their client, patient, or customer determines how effective they will be when they arrive. In Jeff Hostetler's case, what he was doing during those nearly 7 years before he was given a chance to start, get ready, the opportunity is there. Jeff was completely loyal to his first-string quarterback, his coach, and his team. He was not constantly calling press conferences and proclaiming that he should be the starting quarterback. It's kind of tough. I mean, if you think about how much of an ego we all have, it's kind of hard not to drop a little nugget here or there and just remember what's the best path to your success and your friend's success. On the contrary, he roamed the sidelines, sending in plays to Phil Simms, the starting quarterback. During timeouts and in the halftime break, if he had spotted anything in the defense that Phil Simms might have missed, he would tell Phil what it was. In short, he was a consummate team player. During those 7 years, Jeff threw thousands of passes through a swinging tire. He worked with his wide receivers and running backs in countless practice sessions, sharpening and honing his skills. He lifted tons of weights, did hundreds of push-ups and sit-ups, jogged many, many miles, and did numerous wind sprints. He literally spent hundreds of hours poring over the playbook, studying not only his own offense and defense, but the defenses of the opposing teams. Jeff worked out all year long, including the off-season. During the season, he was at every practice session, and each week he was a scout quarterback playing the role of the quarterback for that week's opponent. Each week he was under pressure from his own teammates as they tried to make the practice sessions as realistic as the games. Then one day, nearly 7 years after Jeff made the squad, Phil Simms was injured, and the coach said, "Okay, Jeff, it's your turn." I have a feeling that as Jeff slipped his helmet on and headed for the field, he thought to himself, "This is what it's all about. This is what I've been preparing for all these years. It's my turn." How do you prepare during your off-season, after work hours? If, when you go to work tomorrow, your immediate superior were to call you in and say, "Okay, Sally," or Jim, "it's your turn. We're moving you into the top spot," would you have to say, "Wait a minute, I've got to improve my attitude, hone my skills, and build my character"? Or would you jump up and say, "This is what I've been preparing for. I'm ready"? Most people who fail in their dreams fail not from a lack of ability, but from a lack of commitment. You develop the qualities of success we are identifying and bring them to full maturity in much the same way I brought my speaking career to a full-time occupation, and Jeff Hostetler became a winning quarterback. We make the decisions to do. When you decide to do whatever it takes to acquire these qualities, you will end up like thousands of others and go over the top. The heart of the message in Over the Top is that motivation gives you the want to, trading and education give you the how to, and the combination produces the necessary creative ideas to be more effective in realizing your dream. Character, commitment, discipline, and responsibility keep you going. This is a good time to remind you that I feel so strongly about this book and what it can do for people, what it has done for people, that if I know you personally, I will take money out of my pocket and have one come to you, should you choose to read it. And remember, your news doesn't have to make you sad if you listen to news that doesn't suck.